monsters. Good day to you, partner. I'm Guy, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken kingdom.
Hey guys, Wheat Solo here, aka the guy who was once a Skeleton King. And what does it mean if you were once a Skeleton King? It means that the most important thing in Diablo 2 or Project Diablo 2 is summons. And there are some exciting changes on how poison works, which is now poison will be stacked independently. So basically, every single person and every single summon in a game will have their own poison counter. And so 8 players can be poison necros with 8 poison mages each, and they'll all be doing damage. While in the old days, it was the highest bit rate poison damage would take over all of the rest, I believe. But before anybody gets too excited, you have to understand that poison revives really suck. Now these things are all sped up, and even if they weren't sped up, if this was just ×1 speed, it would still not be very impressive. But as you can see, cadavers and the unravelers, their poison damage is almost negligible. And in fact, what's actually doing the most damage is their physical hit, or for the unravelers, their little magic attack. But fear not. By the way, I've already had a DPS video on poison mages. They are by far the worst mage, but they'll be slightly better due to the fact that they won't kind of cuck each other anymore, but they're not good. So, also, not great. And by the way, all of this has been done basically with no auras and only either 1 or 20 skills, so keep that in mind for any of the DPS numbers. But the Spooder Mage was like starting to show some promise. And because the Spooder Mage showed promise, this is only going to be, I believe, at ×2 speed, and it actually does a reasonable amount of damage. Now, what's a reasonable amount of damage? I believe the Mage DPS checks I did, I think I had 40 skills. Sorry, I probably should have checked now that I'm talking about it. I didn't think I was going to. But I believe that 40, the mages were doing about 3k DPS, the Poison Mage. God, I want to say actually that was the fire and cold, and that the poison was more like 1,400. I don't know. Someone can fact check me on my own videos. But if they did fact check me, they would understand that they're actually doing very similar DPS to the spider mages at 20 skill points. Now, I wanted to check something else out. How much does just the poison damage do of their DPS? Now, by the way, the poison damage also does scale, this is important, with plus hard points because it increases the damage on the Iraq poison themselves. But it doesn't get any more damage. So by the way, let's say you have these Iraqs, and I was saying they'll do better with more skills. They will, because they'll be doing more physical damage, and they did enough physical damage, right? We're going to find out that the poison damage is doing about 500 DPS, while the Spooder Mage is doing another 1,000 physical. So basically that 1,000 portion will keep getting better and better. With that, 20 ED or whatever it gets from every single soft point into revive, but the poison damage is going to cap right here at 20 skill points. But what's interesting is not only did it do pretty good damage, it also just lasts the entire time. So I wanted to go, okay, so how long does it last? So also, it's an AoE attack. So someone was like, well, what's going to matter? It's not an AoE attack. Well, guess what? It actually is an AoE attack. Now, does this have any application against map mobs? I don't know. I guess the cool part is that they do pretty good damage for just 20 skill points, and poison is pretty useful, but I wouldn't get too excited about it. But what we're going to find out from right here is that the poison length is actually 4 minutes, because this is ×4 speed, and it's going to last about 60 seconds. Does that have any application? Well, in the old days it did. When it was harder to apply bleed or prevent monster heal on minis and Ubers, back when Ubers regened, Spooder Magi's was actually my trick to dealing with them, because the poison just lasts for so long. And in fact, if it ever died, you could just go back real quickly, at least for minis, or for some of the Ubers when they regen, because you could enter and exit, get another Spooder Magi, and again, you get a 4-minute poison, which just cancels out all of their regen. So that is really cool. Now, could you mess around with it now? They might do a slight change to revives, and in that case, if they do a slight change to revives, then it's possible that this video will help you go, okay, I know Spooder Magi's are the one to go with. that would be great. If they don't, there's kind of this thing you could do where you could get 8 Spooder Magi's, poison a boss, and then just run away. and they take damage pretty far off screen, and then 4 minutes later warp back, let him hit him, and then warp away. And so that's the biggest practical application I see with poison damage on revives as of now. And what I just wanted to check right there is I wanted to check if the poison length is affected by skill points, and no, it's not. The poison length is always 4 minutes. So if you ever need prevent monster heal for any reason, 1 point revive Spooder Magi is a 4-minute poison. That sounds pretty good. But again, the damage is way lower. So yeah, there you go. It does do damage though, as you could see from the 100k way earlier. And this last little clip is a little bonus thing. Because poison is being changed, I just wanted to confirm that Mastery and Pierce does not work on Poison Creeper. And by the way, this is intended. As far as I remember, I'm pretty sure when they were fixing Poison Creeper, they decided they were not going to make it so Mastery and Pierce would work, because basically all Mastery and Pierce was broken on them. And what they did, even from synergies, is they made the synergies work, and it was a dev decision to not allow Mastery and Pierce. And it's basically to make it so they're not quite as good at bossing, but they're still good at bossing. So anyways, so this proves that. By the way, Bone Spear Brand Innocence will be tested at some point. Toplook and I are going to do a podcast soon. Skelly King out, guys. GG.